I always say that beef back ribs, when you make them, they don't always win beauty contests because a lot of the times you get that meat that pulls away from the bone, leaves a lot of exposed bone. But let me tell you, the flavor is fantastic. And today, I've got 2 nice racks of beef back ribs. Each one's about 4 pounds. We're gonna get these seasoned up. They're gonna go in the refrigerator overnight so that tomorrow we can smoke these up out on the Lone Star Grillz offset. Now with beef back ribs, people will remove the membrane on the back. Personally, I don't bother with that. There is less surface meat on beef back ribs, and I've taken the membrane off before, and those ribs get so tender that everything just falls apart. But that membrane does come off easily after you cook it if you want to remove it. It doesn't bother me just leaving it. But it is thick enough here that I'm not even gonna bother seasoning this side. Now I could score it and then add seasoning, but I haven't found that does a whole lot, so we're gonna really focus on the meat side of these today. Now there is good surface moisture, but I wanna add a little more, so I'm gonna add some Worcestershire sauce just to rub over the top here. Just a little bit on each one. Gonna get this all over the surface of the meat here. Good binder, and it does add a little bit of flavor. I know a lot of people say that the binders don't add flavor, but I don't know, I can taste them if you use things like mustard. It's not bad. It does just add some flavor, and there's nothing really wrong with that. For seasoning today, I'm using Mad Cow Rub from Postal Barbecue. Just gonna get a nice coating here on everything. It's a good rub from my buddy Jabin Postal up in Canada. He has a YouTube channel, Postal Barbecue. Should check him out. He's got Mad Cow Rub, he's got a chicken rub, he's got his original rub, and they're all fantastic rubs. And he's not some huge conglomerate either. He's a craft rub maker and he makes good stuff, so I like to support those people. All right, I am happy with that. This is going in the refrigerator overnight, like I said, and I'll see you out at the Lone Star Grillz offset tomorrow. Well, the Lone Star Grillz is up to temp. My target temperature today is 250 degrees. We're a little above that now, but that'll moderate once we get the ribs on. Now I'm burning post oak today, and I have water in the cook chamber. This smoker can hold water right in the bottom of the cook chamber. And one more thing I didn't mention yesterday when I was seasoning the ribs. We're not gonna wrap these today. It's gonna be a no wrap rib cook. But what that does mean is that after 2 hours, I'm gonna be spritzing them frequently, probably every 30 minutes as we get closer to the end, maybe every 15 minutes, but we'll see how they're doing. So let's get these ribs on. So let's get this closed up, get smoking, and we'll check them in 2 hours. So we're 2 hours into this beef back rib cook. I added a split of wood about 40 minutes ago, so I'll probably have to add another one in about 15 minutes or so. But let's go ahead and check our beef back ribs, and we're gonna start spritzing them. We are already getting some nice pullback on the bones here. Let's go ahead and spritz these. I'm gonna close this up so these can keep smoking. Now, why did I decide not to wrap these? Well, sometimes you just don't want to wrap ribs. You may not have foil or butcher paper. You may just want to do it the easy way like this. And one of the things about beef back ribs, they're not like beef short ribs or beef plate ribs where you have that big stack of meat on top of the bone. It's a very thin layer of meat here. It's that thicker layer of meat that the wrapping really helps tenderize. So I'm gonna spritz this every half hour now, and in about an hour at the 3 hour mark, I'm gonna start checking for tenderness. And when we're getting close, I'm gonna glaze these. I know I'm starting an argument, I'm putting sauce on beef ribs, but I'm a believer in if you wanna sauce something, go ahead. And I have a Southern whiskey barbecue sauce that I bought quite a while back that I want to use on these. So I'll see you back here when it's time to check these for tenderness at about 3 hours. We're at the 3-hour mark now. I spritzed at the 2-hour and 30-minute mark. Let's check our beef back ribs. Looking good. Getting more pull back here on those bones. I'm gonna go ahead and spritz, and I'm just using plain water if I haven't mentioned that yet. So let's just see how we're doing tenderness-wise here. There's still a little bit of resistance. And I don't know if you can see this here. Let me move this down a little bit. The meat temperature on 147, so we're still low. Yeah, a little bit of resistance there. I'm thinking these probably have about another hour to go. So I'm only gonna glaze them for about 15 minutes. So we're gonna wait that full hour to check them, but I will spritz them again in 30 minutes. And I'm gonna give them another spritz right now before I close this up. So I'll see you back here in another hour as we compete with the flies for these beef ribs. All right, we're at the 4-hour mark. Let's go ahead and check our beef back ribs, see how tender they are, see if we need to keep going. See how we're feeling tenderness-wise. You know, not bad. A little bit of resistance still. Let's just pick these up and see how they're looking. A little bit of flex. There's not usually as much flex in beef back ribs as there is in, say, baby back ribs. Let me turn this one around. This is so we can see the bones on this side too. You can see we're getting good pullback on the bones there too. I'm gonna give these a spritz, and I think we have probably a half an hour more to go, and then I'm gonna glaze them, and they're just gonna go for about 15 minutes with that glaze. Then they're gonna go inside with some foil covering them for about 30 minutes. So let's get these spritzed. So we'll come back in 30 minutes and glaze these. All right, if my math is correct, we are at 4.5 hours right now, and I wanna go ahead and glaze these. It's a fairly thin sauce. Want to get good coverage on these ribs. Trying not to brush too hard. That bark is pretty well set on there, but I don't want to brush it off by being too aggressive. So I'm doing a little bit more dabbing and light brushing. All right, these are gonna go for 15 minutes. Then I'm gonna take them off, get them on a tray and cover them with foil. It's getting a little windy out here right now, so I don't wanna keep the cameras up. So the next place I'll see you is inside after they've rested for half an hour. All right, our beef back ribs are done resting. I have one of the racks out here. It actually rested for about 40 minutes, not 30 minutes. And the first thing I wanna do is I wanna show you how to remove that membrane after it's cooked, so you don't have to go through that process before. Remember, the reason I like to do it that way is that because there's so little meat on this, if it gets super tender and there's no membrane to hold it, it can just fall apart. And if you like that kind of ribs, go for it. I prefer some structure to it. So let's turn these over. Now, just like on pork ribs, all you gotta do, get up under there with like a table knife here, butter knife, and start peeling it up. Sometimes you'll get big sections that come up. Sometimes you're gonna pick at it just like a membrane on pork ribs that doesn't cooperate. But I just find this works so much better. And honestly, you don't have to remove the membrane here, but I know a lot of people like to have the membrane removed, so I thought I'd show this. Personally, I usually just leave it on, rip it off as I'm eating it. But if you wanna remove it now, this is how you do it. That's good enough for me. Let's turn these back over and cut into them. Let's see, we got our bones showing right here. Oh yeah, that looks good. Nice and juicy there, look at that. There's no point in waiting. I'm gonna dive in right here for a taste. Let's see. I don't know if I have any sauce on my face, and I don't really care. This is good. Nice sweetness from the glaze, but also there's just that really, really good flavor of the rub and the smoke together underneath that. That Postal barbecue rub is just so good on beef. I love that. And like I often say, and I think I mentioned it near the beginning of this video, Beef back ribs often get a bad rap, I think. They're not always the prettiest when they're done, but honestly, when you look at these today, I have no complaints on how they look and zero complaints on how they taste.